Hey students, I hope everybody's doing okay. I promise tomorrow I'll have some nicer stuff back there so you can look at. Maybe I'll put something nice so the background won't be so dull. Hey, I'm trying this just to see how it works, and I'm posting a YouTube video on the next unit that you're going to have to deal with. Uh, I don't have any fancy equipment. It's just a Logitech webcam, and hopefully this will work okay. So the next unit we're going to go into after you take your exam, it's going to be called the Era of Good Feelings. Okay, they call it the Era of Good Feelings because the election of James Monroe kind of ushers in this period of relative tranquility. In addition to that, we just beat the British again. Okay, and that means that now the United States can stand alone. With that said, even though it's going to be a period of relative tranquility, it's going to be an incredible amount of changes that are going on. And one of the changes is going to be, of course, the construction of the Cumberland Road, the national road. We're also going to have the implementation of the American system, which is basically what the American system is. And I'm going to touch on the main things that would more than likely come out in the exam. The idea of the American system, it's actually Henry Clay's idea, and there's a couple of names here that you're going to have to know for this unit. Henry Clay, John C. Calhoun, Daniel Webster, and Andrew Jackson. Okay, now Andrew Jackson is over here by himself. Okay, but Clay, Calhoun, and Webster were known as a great triumvirate. And they were really, really the main politicians of this period. And they had one thing in common. They did not like Andrew Jackson. As a matter of fact, I would say that Calhoun and Jackson hated each other. Okay. And of course, when Henry Clay makes a deal with in the election of 1824 with John Quincy Adams, then of course Jackson hates him even more. Okay, so the idea was to create, because the United States was north, south, and east. There really wasn't a west. It's just like north, or let's get rid of east. It was north, south, and west. Okay, and what we have here is that they want to connect the country with a really good road system, a really good currency, a strong currency, and lastly, each area would produce something that was unique to them that would boost their economy. In the South, it was cotton. In the West, it was various and sundry goods, an assortment of things. And in the Northeast, they're the ones that would sell it. Okay, now what would they get in return? Well, the West would get improvements to have better roads. The problem came with the South. The North really did not want to help the South because the South was involved in what? Slavery. Okay? Now, speaking of slavery, one of the things that's going to happen in the era of good feelings is going to be the Missouri Compromise in 1820, where Missouri comes in as a state, but it's above the 3630 line. And what happens with the Missouri Compromise is that they say, we're going to go ahead and allow Missouri to come in as a slave state, but this is the last state that comes in above the 3630 line that practices slavery. And that's going to create a problem, because if you look at the map of the United States, I mean, we're up to the Mississippi and we've got the Louisiana Territory, but we don't have Texas yet, and there's no guarantees yet. Okay? Now, speaking of territory, let's talk about the Rush-Bagot Treaty, and let's talk about the Convention of 1818. The Convention of 1818 finally sets the property line, or the territory line, I'm sorry, of the United States northern boundary above Montana, okay, and South Dakota. There was a river there that made an S, and basically what they did is that they just went straight with a 49th parallel, which is the border that we have now. The other thing is going to be the Rush-Bagot Treaty, okay? Rush-Bagot. And this is important because this treaty was made um, to remove big British vessels from the Great Lakes. What the British would do is that they kind of harassed the United States. And after the War of 1812, in 1814, they finally decide that, okay, you know, we're gonna stop. We'll have small patrol vessels for smuggling, but no more big vessels. Okay, there's going to be some legislation that's going to take place, but I'm going to cover that later on. Let's talk a little bit about James Monroe. James Monroe was Madison's Secretary of State. He's a Democratic Republican, and he's actually a pretty sharp guy, handsome, you know, sharp, and he becomes the president. He's got a lot of crowning achievements that we'll cover later, but I think his biggest crowning achievement is going to be um, the Monroe Doctrine, which pretty much closes off uh, Mexico, Central America, and South America to colonization from the British because of the independence movements that are going on in those countries. Now, the British say it is not worth the paper it is written on, but they never challenge it. The British do come in economically later on, but they're invited. They don't come in as a warring force, okay? Let me see, just in case I forgot everything. The era of good feelings actually ends with the Adams-Jackson election, or better known as the corrupt bargain. But I got to back up a little bit because we got to talk about the Treaty of Adams-Onis in 1819. What happens is that the Seminole Indians are really raising hell in northern Florida and in Georgia because American settlers are moving in, and pretty much the Jackson and John I'm sorry, Madison says, hey, if you don't take care of these individuals, if you don't take care of these Indians, they tell the Spanish, we're going to have to intervene, and if we intervene, then you're going to owe us money for it. So uh, the treaty is made uh, to buy Florida. I'm pretty sure it's $10 million, okay? Bargain, okay? But not as big as bargain as the Louisiana purchase, right? 2 cents an acre for the Louisiana purchase, 15 million bucks. I mean, Jesus. I mean, what a steal. Here you're buying Florida, and not even, yeah, by this time you get all of Florida, and, you know, for 10 million. Anyway, they end up buying, the Spanish say, well, look, if we don't sell it to them, they're going to take it away from us. Okay, so let's just go ahead and sell it to them. And like I said, moving back, I mean, I'll remember some things. If y'all have questions, tell me. I'll pop a little video and I'll explain those things to you. But the era of good feelings is going to end with the election of John Quincy Adams. John Quincy Adams wins the Electoral College votes, but he loses the popular votes, okay? And because of that, then uh, uh, Andrew Jackson, there you go, cries corrupt bargain, and he leaves the Democratic Republic Party, and then of course the little magician Martin Van Buren is going to create the new party. Also, we'll talk about the National Bank. You know, they're going to do to undermine Jackson, the Trail of Tears, and sectionalism, the nullification crisis that's coming up. Okay, so the most important thing is that you all let me know what I need to do. And we'll watch the views on this. If you all don't watch them, I'm just not going to do them, okay? So that's very important, that you put some effort into it. Did I forget anything? Monroe, uh, Rush-Bagot, 1819, Monroe Doctrine. I touched on a couple of other things. What's coming up is the Age of Jackson, okay? Or the Age of the Common Man. Okay, or Jacksonian America, where all white males become democratized and they all vote because they're emancipated. Okay, you all take care. Be kind to each other and wash your hands.